I have come as a messenger unto you, as a voice crying in the wilderness, to bear witness to the light. Hear his cry. So began the journey. A winter storm began to arrive in north central Indiana as I started to leave the house. As I prepared to back out, I was impressed to text my daughter, telling her I was going and that I loved her. The thought occurred to me how important it is to tell those we love that we do love them. You never know. After a brief stop to purchase some winter boots, the clerk had several difficulties placing the order. He and his manager struggled, both frustrated and upset because of delaying me. As we talked, I told them not to worry about it. Sometimes God causes delays to protect us. After driving for a distance, the sleet and snow had begun to pick up intensity. A semi and an SUV had slid off in the median. As I continued driving, I prayed for their needs. Minutes down the highway, perhaps a mile or two, I looked over to the northbound lanes as I watched with alarm. I realized the white pickup truck was entering the median. No time to react and nowhere to go. Without any doubt, I knew I was going to hit the vehicle head on. As his truck shot out in front of me, I couldn't avoid him. I cried out, "No, God, no, help me." I was laying slid down in the corner of the driver's seat, pushed against the door, half under the steering wheel. No air would enter my lungs. No sound would come forth from my mouth. In my mind I called out, "Jesus, help me. I can't breathe." Repeatedly I cried out. As I was coming to the end of consciousness, I asked the Lord, "Is this the end?" Slowly, like a tire with a slow leak, air began to enter my. As I looked about, I saw my arm was extended into the passenger seat. My bone was sticking out. As I slowly moved my way toward my hand, it was obvious it was completely separated away from the rest of my arm, connected only by flesh. As I began to reach with my left hand to move my arm to my lap, clearly these words entered in my mind. "Diana, be very careful when you move your arm. The bones are shattered and you have veins and arteries wrapped around shattered bones. You could bleed out." Carefully, I began to lift my hand and move it to my lap. As I lifted and moved my arm, slowly the thought occurred to me. I asked, God, how will I know if I'm bleeding now? Will I just be gone? Tipton, Indiana. Tipton Memorial Hospital emergency room. I arrived at the hospital in critical condition. My heart rate was bradycardia, with my heart rate dropping to the 20s, then accelerating in excess of 180 beats per minute. My heart rate remained in this condition for several hours to come. As soon as I was stabilized, I was taken to Indianapolis, although due to the weather I was transported via ambulance, where for the next several days I remained in intensive care with a trauma team of 12 doctors working to stabilize me. IU Methodist Trauma Center, Indianapolis, Indiana, January the 12th, 2012 to January the 18th, 2012. Rehabilitation Hospital of Indiana, January the 18th, 2012 to February the 10th, 2012. Windfall Crossing, Rochester, Indiana, February the 10th, 2012 to May the 1st, 2012. My journey has included a broken back, a crushed sternum, all my ribs but two broken, a compound fracture with two plates and a strap attaching my hand to my arm, a tear in my right shoulder, cervical damages, as well as nerve damages in my hand and spine, bruised kidney and liver. As I laid on the edge of eternity, I sensed laying in the palm of his hand, as I grasped his finger, the faithfulness of God hearing my cry. My question for you, do you know in your time of trouble who you are going to call upon for help? As my time ends with you, I would like to invite each one viewing this to search your heart and seek God, to know there is nothing that prevents you from entering heaven and being with Him in eternity. You never know.